we play a game?
Why, yes, I believe we shall.
Oh, I got a live one here.
Welcome to Shane Plays Radio, live from Little Rock. It's Geek Talk Radio. Shane Plays is a journey into the things we love. It's going to be a great week, a great episode. Really looking forward to it. We're going to be talking comic books, and not only talking comic books, but talking comic books with comic book creators, which is really cool. And we're going to be talking about a comic book expo here in Little Rock next weekend. For that, I've always got my house cleaning notes. Or housekeeping notes, whatever you want to call it. Thanks so much for listening, whether you're listening on 96.5 FM, The Answer here in Little Rock, or if you're listening online at 96.5fmtheanswer.com, or if you're listening on your iHeartRadio or TuneIn Radio app on your smartphone, or, and I know there's a lot of ors because there's a lot of ways to listen to the show, on the podcast, which I appreciate any and all of those. You can always find the podcast goes out soon after, either tonight or tomorrow, on Stitcher and iTunes and many other directories. Also, don't forget, you can always find, you can go to right now you can go to shaneplays.com, and there's always a blog post up that has notes and links for what we're talking about right now. So that way, if you're like, oh, what was he talking about? Or I want to know more, shaneplays.com, there's a blog post right there. And like the people we're going to be talking about today, it's got links on them so that you can go find out more about them. It's got links on some news items. So make sure to check that out. Finally, don't forget, if you like the show, you don't have to, but you can support the show via patreon.com. That's patreon.com/ShanePlays. And I think I forgot to mention, if you haven't caught it by now, my name is Shane. I'm your host. I love geeky stuff, and I love to talk about it. So let's get moving with some news items real quick. These are blatantly self-promoting news items because they're news items that I wrote and put on my blog post. So sometimes I have all kinds of crazy news items from all over the geekverse, but these three are news items I put together, and then we're going to cut to a break, and when we get back, we're going to talk with Brent Douglass, who's putting together this amazing comic book expo here in Little Rock. We're going to be talking to, is it Bettie or Elizabeth?
Both.
Both? Okay, so Mitch and Bettie Breitweiser? Breitweiser. Okay, Breitweiser, who they do all kinds of stuff, both in like Marvel Comics, independent. I mean, they're doing some really cool stuff. And we're also going to be talking with Stuart Berryhill. So, Kendall, did you know that we had amazing comic book talent right here in Little Rock?
Listen, I had an inkling, an idea, but yeah.
It's right. I mean,
this is amazing.
La Petite Roche, Little Rock, right here. Major talent. So I'm really excited about this. So we're going to be doing that after the break. Kendall, can we turn the microphone on in the newsroom and hear those guys hard at work? See what's going on there? Or maybe not. Is the microphone broke in the newsroom again?
I think so, sir.
Oh, man. All right. Well, sometimes we get to listen to our news team hard at work, but not today. So just imagine the fevered blend of people shouting and typewriters, and that's the fevered newsroom. I still can't believe they work on Saturdays. The Shane Plays news team works on Saturdays, and they don't even ask for more money. I don't get it. So here's some news items real quick. Now we're going to cut to break. When we come back from break, it's going to be all comics. The rest of the show, comic books. I love them. So cool. All right. So here's a couple of quick news items. One of them, my first news item, is comic book related, and I might actually try to pump our guests for some information. I don't know if they're sworn to secrecy or anything, but I found an interview with Alex Ross on the Daily Beast, and it was talking about, how he works and his amazing painting art style and all that. And I pulled some nuggets out of it. Now, it talked about all kinds of stuff, how he works, how he got into the industry. He's never used a computer. I didn't even know that. He doesn't use a computer. He's never typed a full sentence on a computer. But one of the things I pulled out of there, he was like, they were like, well, what do you think about Marvel Comics resetting the Marvel Universe after Secret Wars? And he goes, there is no reset. I'm looking at the stuff after Secret Wars at work, and then nothing's changed. Like Miles Morales is in the universe. That's it. So I thought that was actually kind of interesting because, it's been kind of vague what's actually going to happen afterwards. So maybe he spoke out of turn. I don't know. But can y'all Can Betty or Mitch, can y'all speak to that at all?
No, we don't.
We've been out of the Marvel universe.
Have you?
For a couple of years.
Okay,
Yeah, we've been working
right.
with Image Comics and playing in their sandbox.
Well, I didn't know if you had the underground artist network with the little and you're sending the little messages to each other.
No, there's no secret codes that are passed along, at least to us.
You're destroying my dreams, Mitch. You're destroying my dreams. Okay, so make sure to check that out, folks. And then also, if you're keeping up with Sword Coast Legends, which is a new D&D based role-playing game, computer game that also has some really heavy DM tools. I've set in on a couple of live streams from Sword Coast Legends on Twitch and taken extensive, copious notes on what's coming, including some head start dates when people can get early access. So go to shaneplays.com and look up the show notes and see that stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a break, and when we get back, it's comic book time. Like I said, we've got Brent Douglass, who's going to be talking about the River City Comic Expo. And I loved you call it River City. That just has a good ring to it, Brent. I like the name of that. So we got Mitch and Bettie Breitweiser, and then Stuart Berryhill, all comic book creators. I'm looking forward to talking to them. Kendall, go ahead and take us to break. When we come back, we're going to get on with that.
Shane Plays Radio is blessed to have sponsors, and we appreciate them very much. However, did you know that you can also support the show as an individual for as little as $1 an episode? Simply go to patreon.com/ShanePlays. Did you know that your business can provide its employees with the same benefits packages as even the largest Fortune 500 companies, often at no direct cost to you, the business owner, and while saving money at the same time? If you've always thought that you would like to offer those big company benefits to your employees but thought that there was no way, let our team at the Make 'em Teague Agency come by and show you how it can be possible and how simple it is to put into place. We offer major medical and group and individual plans, on-or-off exchange, dental and vision, life products, cancer, accident, and more. These benefits create that ever-so-priceless commodity known as loyalty. And yes, we are ACA certified. We even offer these same benefits on the individual basis if you're just a one-person entrepreneur or making things happen on your own. Give us a call today at 501-838-6827 to schedule your no-obligation on-site consultation. The Make 'em Teague Agency is serving all of Arkansas and surrounding states. 501-838-6827. Give us 1% of your trust, and we'll earn the other 99.
JLM Tree Servicing can take care of your tree servicing needs. Contact them at 501-351-7714, online at jlmservicing.com, and on Facebook. Do you have limbs touching the roof or killing your grass with too much shade? Leaves collecting in the pool or gutters? Need to remove that unsightly dead tree? JLM Servicing is insured, provides free estimates, serves all of Central Arkansas, and doesn't collect payment until job well done. JLM Tree Servicing, 501-351-7714. Find them online at jlmservicing.com or on Facebook.
Megawars.net. The classic online space strategy game has returned, bigger and better than ever before. Scout the universe and claim your empire. Construct, customize, and launch dozens of different starships. Battle thousands of opponents online in a team-based competition leading to the ultimate battle of the galaxies. Grab your slot today in one of the most hotly anticipated indie games of 2015. Visit megawars.net and get options only available during our pre-sale event running now. Megawars.net.
Welcome back to Shane Plays Radio, a journey into the things you love. We had our house cleaning notes before the break. Now we're going to be talking comic books the rest of the show. And we're doing that for two reasons. One, I love comic books, and a lot of other people love comic books. Two, we have next weekend, the 29th, and I'm about to let Brent Douglass talk more about this. On the 29th, right here in Little Rock, we have the River City Comic Expo, which over the past few years has grown so large that it now takes up a couple of ballrooms at the State House Convention Center. Am I correct, Brent?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then we're also going to be talking with Stuart Berryhill, who's a comic artist, and he's got I think the series he's best known for is Man of God, but he's got some other stuff he's been working on too. So we'll be talking about that from now to the next break. Then after that, we'll be talking with Mitch and Bettie Breitweiser about their work. And these are all local people doing a really great work in comic books. So I'm excited to have everybody here. Brent, thanks so much for being here. Been talking with you a lot over the past few weeks about your comic expo coming up next Saturday, right here in Little Rock.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead and tell us about it. What can we expect?
You'll have Stu Mitch, Betty, some other artists, Dusty Higgins, Gail Simone, Michael Golden, Bob McLeod, John Lucas, various artists, some local, a few more local, and then some we've brought in. Fans have asked for particular artists or writers. We try to get those to come to the next shows. We'll have, I think the last count was 12 different comic book dealers, about 60 tables between all 12 of them. We'll have 13 or so mixed vendors where it's comic toys or apparel, cosplay. You'll have tons of people dressed up as their favorite hero or villain.
And speaking of cosplay, I sent you a link yesterday. I don't know if everybody's seen this. Have you seen the Marvel cosplay covers, the variant covers that they announced yesterday? Mm-hmm. They look really cool. So I'm really impressed that they did that. So anyway.
That was a pretty good idea.
You
put the cosplayers in costume as, say, Captain Marvel or Spider-Man.
Right.
Throw a green screen background, and some of them looked pretty good.
Some of them looked really good. They all look good on a certain level. My favorite was Nova. I just really liked the Nova one. Mitch, I see. Did you see them yet?
I saw them this morning when I was browsing my Facebook feed.
What did you think?
I didn't know they were actual Marvel covers. I didn't read the headline or anything. I just saw them, and they were impressive.
Yeah.
I thought maybe that someone did them as an art project or something, but they're slick looking. Yeah, they're nice, kind of a nod to the community.
Right.
Which is a nice thing to do. And I don't want him to undersell this, but guys like Michael Golden.
Yeah.
He's legendary.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
This is one of probably the greatest American illustrators
wow.
of the 20th century.
Okay, yeah.
There's no doubt.
I'm very
you want to
excited
come
to see
out
Michael
and see
Golden.
some of these artists, especially Michael, because he's been around. He's done a lot of stuff. And if you're interested in the arts or American illustration, that's a big name.
Well, I mean, if people,
Titan.
not only is he an amazing artist and been around, but he created Rogue, the character of Rogue from the X-Men, which is a personal favorite of mine forever. So, anyway, I just thought it was cool. Basically the variant covers. It's every month the DC and Marvel and other companies are doing variant covers, and I guess I don't know what month it is. I don't remember, but they're going to be doing variant covers that have people doing cosplay, which is very cool. And so what did you think about it, Stuart? Did you get a chance? You said you saw it, right? What did you think?
I thought it was great.
Yeah, some good looking stuff. Did you have a favorite in the ones you saw?
I thought the She-Hulk was pretty
good.
The
She-Hulk was. They had two green women because they had one for She-Hulk, and then they did the Gamora on Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. So, did you have a favorite, Mitch, that you saw?
I liked them all.
Did you like them all?
Unbiased.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I thought they were all really impressive, but there was something about the Nova one that I just thought was.
The Nova one was cool.
Yeah, I really liked a lot.
Suspended in midair.
Yeah, he was like,
nice
exactly.
pose.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was the pose.
It was
that
striking.
Did it for me.
Yeah,
Striking. They had him kind of levitating up. So, all right. Anyway, Brent, back to the Comic Expo.
Speaking of the cosplayers, the one thing I learned from I think the second to the third show when we got more involved with the cosplay is they're as driven as we are for Mitch wants to do his art, Stu wants to do his art, Elizabeth wants to do her art, me wanting to put on a show. The cosplayers, to them, that's their art, and they spend a lot of time, a lot of effort.
And they're really good at it.
Yeah, they're amazing.
They put a lot of work into that.
That's a good point. I never thought of it that way.
Bradley, he's the head of the Cobra organization for the cosplay group here. On his Facebook page, he's always working on making this part of the costume, making it better, making an add-on to it, and just watching like the mind process. And he's in his shop and he has this big, looks like bazooka that he made, I want to say out of some type of pipe that he sanded and painted and built up, and then he incorporated that into a costume. I'm trying to figure out how to fix and sand and paint a hole in the sheetrock, and I can't get that done, and he's over here.
Well, some of these cosplayers are doing better work for free out of the love of it than people like movie prop people in the past. I mean, there's some really amazing work going on.
There was a picture, I'm sure y'all saw it. The apocalypse in the movie that Fox is fixing to put out, and then the cosplay.
And the cosplay was better.
The cosplay looks just like the book, and Fox has got looks like the bad guy from whatever cartoon that was.
Yeah, people don't seem happy with the apocalypse and the. I'm reserving. Here's what I try to do. I try to reserve judgment on this stuff, because like when the Joker for the Suicide movie first hit, people were like, and I'm like, wait, you got to wait for the whole movie to understand, and then you can say, does it fit or not? So, but yeah, Apocalypse does look a little weird to me. So, and we'll see there. But anyway, so besides cosplay, you've got panels, and you've got this is really cool. The CW is premiering some footage for the first time. This isn't just they're showing it here; it's being premiered for the first time. And it's Legends of Tomorrow,
and Containment. Another show they're bringing on.
Okay, now I'm familiar with Legends of Tomorrow, of course, because that's the sort of CW DC team. You know, you got
basically the TV version of Justice League.
Basically, yeah, and they're going to be in Rip Hunter shows up, which makes me. I'm really hoping Booster Gold's coming at some point. But
now they've
that would be cool.
Yeah, I've loved Booster Gold since the '80s.
They've added Constantine.
Yeah, I saw Constantine was getting, that makes fans really happy, because there's a lot of people that really were unhappy the show got canceled. Now, here's my take on the show. I only watched 1 or 2 episodes, and I wasn't like a massive fan of the show, but the guy that was doing Constantine, I really feel you nailed it about as close as you could nail Constantine in live action. You know, I really thought that they got that. So that's my opinion on it anyway.
For Constantine, if you look, Arrow comes on. Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? Flash comes on Tuesday. All the comic related shows. Gotham comes on Monday, 7:00. Mm-hmm. Constantine was thrown out there Friday at 9:00. You know, it had its back against the wall before it ever even started.
Right.
And then there was talk that
John Constantine's happy being as a sacrificial lamb against the wall.
Well,
maybe the first time he's lost.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the character of Constantine will be popular enough that the actor can keep portraying him, even though there's a lot more people involved in the show than just him that are not going to get to see it go forward. So when are the hours? It's next Saturday, the 29th, State House Convention Center, right here in Little Rock.
State House from 10 a.m. when the doors open to 6:00. Usually we always run a little late. Then the CW panel will be at the end of the day. So the footage for the Legends of Tomorrow, the footage for Containment, and then the Q&A will be at the end of the day. It's 8 hours. Come out and see Elizabeth, Mitch, Stu, Dusty, John, Gail, everybody that we've got out there.
Well, you also got, and you've done a lot of pulp arc where you've been featuring local. There's somebody that I know. I've done business with him since I was like in 7th grade. Was Michael Tierney with the Wild Stars. I guess he's going to be there.
Yes, sir.
And you got some other guys. Now somebody, is it Josh, Justin? He goes on Dave Ellswick a lot to talk about Comic-Con or conventions he's been to. Is it Justin or Josh? Josh. Okay. Josh, if you're listening, hey buddy, we just Facebooked up yesterday, so I'm looking forward to getting to know him better. I did a show with him, guest hosting on Ellswick one day, but I ran into him and he was like, "Oh, you're having Randy Duncan on, dude. You need to." There's some other guy here in Henderson that's called the Superhero Psychologist. Do you know anything about this? So I want to. Is he going to be there this weekend?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm hoping to meet him as well. So that will be cool. All right, so RiverCityExpo.com. What's the website?
RiverCityComicExpo.com.
Okay, and then also there's a really frequently updated and well updated Facebook page, just River City Comic Expo. And I kept saying Comics Expo. It's Comic Expo.
Comic Expo.
Okay. This Saturday, 10 till 7?
10 till 6.
10 till 6. Okay. Be there, and I will be there next week
doing a live
broadcast. So if you want to get on the radio and have me ask strange questions that you people struggle, what's he asking me, then show up, and I'll stick a microphone in your face because I'm going to be walking around. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm hoping to talk to everybody. All the artists and everybody that take time to come out. I definitely want to acknowledge, I got to, just for my own personal history, I'd love to have a chance to say hi to Gail Simone and Michael Golden and stuff like that. See, I like Gail Simone's comic book work, but I don't, I used to read her on Comic Book Resources when she did You All Be Sorry. Mm-hmm. And I went and read those again here. Those are so good. Have y'all read those?
No.
I think that's how she got noticed to get into comics.
Right.
for the people, since radio isn't TV, I was looking over at the Breitweisers and asking them if they were familiar with her You'll All Be Sorry work. But she wrote these like satire columns of the comic book world, really funny stuff, and that's how I really remember her, even though I like her comic book work as well. All right, so the next few minutes we're gonna talk to Stuart Berryhill, and then we are going to take a break, and after that we'll be talking to the Breitweisers. Now, Stuart, really glad to be talking to you.
Thank you.
I want to say, first of all, I know that you're an inker.
Yes, sir.
So let's just clear the air. Inkers are not tracers. Inkers, people, listen up. If you didn't see Chasing Amy and get straightened out on this back in the day, inking is an artistic discipline and an artistic craft in its own right. And they don't just trace over pencils. They are just as involved with what they are. They are co-creators of what you see on the finished comic book page. So let's clear the air on that. I have seen, just in my time of comics, I've seen the same page inked by different people, and it's a very different finished product. So, in fact, inkers don't just start. You're artists in your own right? You learn to like pencil and stuff, and then is that true? Like,
I try.
Okay, yeah, you try. Well, what I'm saying is it's not like this just secondary thing. It's just as crucial to the finished product.
It depends on how complete the pencils are, but yeah,
okay.
Inking really is the most fun part for me.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
Well, would you say that it adds a lot of personality to the pencils, or how would you characterize inking?
It definitely can. It can add mood, the texture, just everything you work and put into it helps to tell the story. It's basically the lighting like you'd have in a movie.
Okay, and which is crucial. I mean, how you light a scene is critically important.
Right.
So, yeah. In fact, there used to be a discipline. Was it? I think like Leonardo da Vinci taught. Was it chiaroscuro? How do you say that?
Chiaroscuro.
Yeah. I mean, how you do light and shadow is incredibly important. So, well, how did you, Stuart, get into comic art?
I read way too many comic books.
Yeah, like I think everybody in this room could probably qualify for that description. So, were you one of those people who's like, because a lot of people are like, the first time I opened a comic book, this is what I knew I wanted to do. Was it kind of like that with you, or?
I don't remember the first time I opened a comic. They were handed to me when I was a small child.
Yeah. I
had Hot Stuff, Casper,
yeah,
all the kid books from the Harvey series back in the early '70s, and man, it's just I always had stacks of comics. I think I learned to read on them. I really got into the Marvel stuff in the late '70s, early '80s. It was the Avengers, Thanos stuff.
Okay.
The Starlin books that really sucked me in.
Yeah. Starlin's great.
7 years old, and that was intense for a 7-year-old man. I was hooked.
Yeah, big time.
So I'm sitting there running every comic book I had, trying to draw.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So did you? Do you have obviously Starlin, but do you have any other influences that you're like, this person really kind of defined what I thought could be done with this kind of art? Or
Wally Wood.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah, he man was just incredible. Going back and looking for his stuff, all the EC artists were very, very powerful. Yeah,
there was a lot of EC. If you can go back, if people have never heard of EC, they didn't do just horror comics, but they did a lot of horror comics, and the stuff was very dramatic.
Horror, sci-fi, crime.
Yep. In fact, EC was part of the crackdown that when, if people don't know, there was a pretty big crackdown on comics back in the day in the 50s. That resulted in the comic books code, which is now evidently out the window, so nobody really pays attention to it anymore. So I can't remember the last time I've seen a comics book code cover on a
I don't think they're even on the mainstream.
Yeah, they don't even do it anymore. Well, so tell me about. I looked and I know you've done some inking on a book called Man of God, and you've also done with Winter War. And I'll tell you the one that looks the most interesting to me, and I'm going to get some copies of this, is Monty's World. I know you did one story in Monty's World, right? It said you did.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember which one it was. I don't know. Of all of them, I think of Winter War is probably the most fun I had on it.
Yeah, it looked good. The layout, not the layouts, but the panels that they had up that I saw looked really cool. And that's actually telling a World War II story, right?
A little bit before World War II. It
Okay.
was the Finland-Russia war.
Okay.
Where Russia invaded Finland, and Finland was fighting back, and a lot of guerrilla tactics. And Finland actually held them off and kept a good portion of their country. But I learned a lot from reading that story, and as I was inking it. It was really kind of incredible.
Well, and that's one thing I can't believe we even still have to say this in 2015, but comic books aren't just about superheroes.
Oh, no.
You can tell some really powerful stories.
Superheroes aren't even just about superheroes anymore.
Right. No, without a doubt. So how, I guess, how hard was it or how easy was it for you to get into like doing professional work?
I'm not sure. I kind of backed into it. I had a friend of mine who was looking on Man of God to find someone to ink, and I've always enjoyed drawing and inking and trying to be something, trying to move it into something a little better than I was, because I wasn't very good at all. Still, I think the question is,
a humble artist? No, I'm just joking.
I'm still kind of going, wow, I don't need to be here, but no, really, he needed an inker for Man of God, so I took some pages that he had from Yvel Guichet and worked on them a lot.
Yeah.
And
so that was the penciler? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So
he's also done some, he did the Wildstorm characters. I'm trying to think which one he did recently. He did them with Starlin was writing them too.
Okay.
Stormwatch.
Okay,
sorry.
yeah.
He was doing Stormwatch until
Okay.
they canceled the book. It's good stuff.
Right.
He sent me some work, gave me some pointers, critiqued them, and I moved where I could pass on his stuff, make it work. And from there, he was just a tremendous teacher, and he really showed me how to make it work.
Right. Okay. Well, you've just made a lot of aspiring comic book professionals very jealous of you because you're like, well, I just kind of backed into it, and I'm really not that good. And there's people out there like, they would kill to have a professional credit. So
make sure you have tons and stacks of comic books.
Yeah.
Get online, hang out with people, and meet people. Know some folks. Somebody is always working out there, and someone's always trying to learn stuff and do stuff. And really, the more you learn and do, there's no like secret except just keep working.
Keep working. Work hard, and you got to be professional too, right? I mean, you got to meet deadlines, and that's a lot of people they don't get that there's a business side to making comic books. Especially if you're working for a big publisher. Because I've heard a lot of interviews with editors and stuff. Sometimes the ability to meet deadlines can be more important than some other aspects of what the artist can do. So I don't know.
Definitely.
So,
there's a part of Stu's bio that not many people know, and he's responsible for River City. There's two people that got me into comics when I was a kid. One was Michael Tierney, going to his store.
Yeah.
And one was him, Stu, selling comics to me as a 13, 14-year-old boy when he had his own store in Jacksonville.
Entrepreneur.
The first one is free.
He was, behind the counter. He was the owner, and he'd sell books to me.
Where was that in Jacksonville? What year was
on
this?
Main Street,
91, 92.
93,
yeah.
And 10 years later.
Where Matt got started.
10 years later, we were also friends on a chat board. Didn't know we lived in the same city. Didn't know we worked in the same building. I'll meet you at the cafeteria at UAMS. Well, it's him 10 years later. I meet him at the cafeteria.
Dude.
I was like, you look familiar. And we start talking. So we've known each other since I was 12. I won't date myself now to let everybody know how old Stu and I are now. But
well, you look at least 20.
He's one of the ones that got me into the books. And then later on, when we met up, we've always bought, sold, trade with each other. But then when I had the thought of starting the show, he was the first one I called, and he was like, let's do it.
That's great.
Let's do it.
So you're pretty instrumental in making this happen.
Oh yeah.
Listen, I got to take us to a break. Stuart, just tell us real quick at the expo on Saturday, coming up on Saturday, how can people find you? Are you going to have a booth? You're going to be wandering around? Like, are you going to be in any certain panels? Like, you just going to be there?
I'm just going to wander around wherever Brent needs me.
Okay.
I'll go there.
So you're just like you're gonna walk the earth. You just kind of wander. It's like a TV series.
I'm the wandering Stu.
You just show up and help people in need, and then you just kind of fade off. They're like, who was that?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, I look forward to talking to you again next week. So thanks so much for being here today. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to be talking to the Breitweisers. And I also wanted to say, for every one of these artists, go to shaneplays.com for the show notes link, and there's a Comixology link for all of them. So you can find their stuff right there and get more exposed to their great art. When we come back, we're going to be talking to the Breitweisers.
You do all the work.
In business for over 15 years, the Hillcrest Doghouse provides full grooming, bathing, boarding, and daycare services for just about all breeds with knowledgeable and friendly staff, including a licensed groomer with over 10 years experience. The Hillcrest Doghouse uses all natural shampoos, including a pesticide-free flea shampoo. All kennels are situated where we work, which means your companion is rarely left alone, providing the benefit of full interaction with our friendly staff. Additionally, we walk your dog at least 3 times a day to ensure a happy day. Grooming and boarding packages are also available at great prices. The Hillcrest Doghouse is located at 3924 West Markham Street in Little Rock. Call the Hillcrest Doghouse at 501-296-9800. That's 501-296-9800. We're also on Facebook. Find us and like us. Comic book lovers, Michael Tierney's local comic book stores meet all of your comic book needs with friendly service. Visit the comic book store on Treasure Hill Road in Little Rock or Collector's Edition on JFK Boulevard in North Little Rock. And don't forget to click on over to the wildstars.com website. I personally have been a customer of Michael's since the mid-'80s, and I trust him for my reserve list still today. Michael knows comics. In addition to being in business for 34 years, he has written multiple columns for comic magazines, is an Overstreet price guide advisor, and publishes his own comic book series, The Wild Stars. Trust me, these stores are run by a comic book lover for comic book lovers. Remember, for all of your comic book needs with friendly service and to get your copies of The Wild Stars, make sure to visit the comic book store on Treasure Hill Road in Little Rock or Collector's Edition on JFK Boulevard in North Little Rock, and visit thewildstars.com to learn more. Privately owned and licensed by the Arkansas State Police, Rock City Alarm Company has been in business since 1996, specializing in sales, installation, servicing, and monitoring of burglar alarms and fire alarms for the state of Arkansas. Rock City Alarm provides service for residential and commercial alarms, and now provides cellular monitoring with remote arm and disarm. Just call John Hardiman at 501-541-8747. That's John Hardiman at 501-541-8747.
Call Chapman Service today for all your air conditioning and electrical concerns. 0% financing till January 2020 for a limited time. Voted best of the best for 5 years in a row. It's hard to stop a train. Chapman Service, all you want in an air conditioning and an electrical company, nothing you don't.
All right, we are back on Shane Plays Radio, Geek Talk Radio, live from Little Rock, and Shane Plays is a journey into the things we love. One thing I didn't mention earlier, people are welcome to call in. It says live radio, 501-823-0965. That's 501-823-0965. If you have a question for any of our guests, even though we're going to be talking to the Breitweisers basically through the rest of the show, if you had a question for one of the other guests or a comment in general, feel free. I don't think anybody's going to call in. They're like, bark, 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 bark. They don't call in. So we've had people call in, but here lately, like, no, they'll text me or they'll send a Twitter. But I think they're all. I'm trying to call them out. See, I'm trying to. Yeah, you're a bunch of chickens. So we have Mitch and Bettie Breitweiser, who are a married comic artist duo, which is pretty cool. I don't know how common that is in the industry.
It's somewhat.
There's a handful of us.
Yeah, there's a handful. Matt Fraction and Kelly Sue DeConnick are both married, even though they have different last names, and they're both writers at Image, mostly at Image, formerly with Marvel, and
Allred.
Mike Allred and Laura Allred, who is
phenomenal
they're a
team.
Yeah, I
a
just saw
pencil
some
ink or
of
color
her,
combo.
some of the on Twitter. Somebody was pushing out. I think it was Michael Bendis or Brian Michael Bendis was pushing out some of her work on Silver Surfer, and it looked pretty crazy.
Yeah,
so
she's
I've
great.
always loved the all red style. That kind of
Yeah, it's real funky.
Yeah,
and
real funky.
poppy.
Classic.
yeah. I mean, I've liked pretty much everything already, like Mad Men and all that. But I really liked it was like X Force, and then it became Ecstatics or something like that. I love that whole run. But anyway, let's talk about what y'all do. So now. Once again, people go to shaneplays.com, and there's a post up there that says, August 22nd, show notes and links. And there's links that you can find more about Mitch and Bettie and Stuart, and also the River City Comic Expo in general. But it's got their Comixology pages, so you can go there and see stuff that you can grab right now off Comixology and check out their work. Now, what people best know you for, Mitch, probably, okay, is you throw Captain America in there and people are like, oh, but as y'all said earlier, we were doing a break, you're not really doing stuff with Marvel these days. You're working on creator-owned properties at Image, which is super cool. I remember when Image started in the 90s, and there was this big defection from Marvel, basically, because people wanted creator-owned stuff. And Image, I gotta be honest, it's like Image isn't going to stay around, and they're still here and they're still strong, and they put out some really good stuff. So, but I want it now, Mitch, you're a penciler, right? Is that mainly what you do?
Pencil. I mean, I kind of do it all.
Okay.
So I do a little bit of everything. I dabble in the writing. I made my break as a penciler, inker combo.
Right.
So,
okay.
I pencil and ink my own work. Usually.
So you ink your own stuff.
I ink my own stuff. Inks are my favorite part. The ink and the color is my favorite part, but I sort of do everything. I dabble in the writing. I work with a writing partner, a pencil and ink, and I also assist her with some of her coloring work. So, and I also paint covers. I've painted several covers for Marvel. So I've done a lot of digital painting.
Yeah, it looked really good.
And wash painting. And I don't know, I'm just sort of in love with the whole thing.
Okay.
So I want my hands in the whole pie.
Okay, so I'm going to circle back to you, but now, Bettie, I did see that you do some inking, or somebody has you credited as an inker on.
That was a miss.
Was that okay? Because I was like, well, that's weird, because because you don't see many inker colorist combos, but it can happen.
People get mixed up with the Breitweiser name.
I thought maybe, but I wasn't sure. That's why I wanted to clarify. Okay, so you're a colorist, and we were talking during the break. That I'm glad to see that colorists are getting more credit as a vital part of the artistic team for the storytelling on a comic book. Used to, you'd get the writer and the artist in big letters, and then you would, in little bitty letters, you may see the color.
You might,
right?
Well, I think with the advancement of the technology, before the printing really made it hard to use color in any other way than a flat way, and I love flat color, it's beautiful, but you just had so many problems with the printer and getting the color, but now with Photoshop, I mean, you can make everything
you can really
traditional and hand painted, which I think is what I'm kind of known for. But yeah, it's an exciting time, and I mean, it's a big part of the book. It draws people in to buy the book. Color
is huge.
Shouts out to people. You create emotion. You lead the people's eye around the page and tell the story with color, and you're a cinematographer in a way, and create the lighting and mood and emotion.
And we were talking earlier with Stuart, who's an inker on stuff such as Man of God and others. It's just like in a movie, the lighting in a scene is critically important, and color. I mean, people know this in general, but I don't think they really think about it. Color theory and mood is very powerful.
Psychology.
Yeah, they used to in the 70s. A lot of restaurants had a lot of orange, because they thought that it made you hungry.
Red
Maybe
and
it does.
Orange.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah,
and then it increases appetite.
Right,
That's my favorite part of coloring.
Right,
is
color increasing
psychology.
appetite.
Yeah, is the color psychology.
Right.
I was actually focused in marketing my early college career, and that was part of it, color psychology, and how to change people's moods and create different feelings with color. So
right, well, no doubt. And in fact, I was just looking through. I've always known of Astro City, but here lately I've just become an Astro City nerd. I really like what's going on in Astro City, but Vertigo, it's on Vertigo now, and in the back of Vertigo, they're putting out collected editions that are built around the colorist. and talking about how important the color is. Like one edition is blue. I think they're all on CMYK, right? One is going to be C, one's going to be M, one is going to be. I think that's how they're doing it, and they're going into how important color is.
I love that.
Yeah, so it's really cool. But yeah, even back in the '80s, I basically was a read some comic books in the '70s, major total comic book nerd in the '80s and early '90s. Probably started coming back into comic books a few years ago. And you're right. The technology for the coloring has changed dramatically.
The printing technology.
Yeah, the printing.
It's really the printing technology that's.
Well, I mean, I guess you have paper and then is it cellulose or whatever? Not cellulose they print on
it's
now.
Some kind of coated paper. I don't know exactly what it is, but man, you can get some really great.
You have full range. You have the full spectrum of colors where when early
they were
on
on
in
newsprint,
comics,
right?
you only had a handful of colors that you could choose from, so you didn't have freedom to express yourself or to tell a story, even if you wanted to, because you just only had a handful of colors available that would print.
Right.
This is why you have so many characters with purple pants.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to have a different color.
Yeah.
Well,
Primary
used to
and secondary colors was.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you had 4 colors. They say 4 color comics, and I guess there's still 4 colors, but they could only mix them so well back then. So you had these, in some ways it was cool because it was all bright and poppy, but there was some subtleties and moods and you couldn't get into. But it made me think. Used to, you could take a comic book and you could get up really close to it and you could see all the little dots,
which I love still, but yeah.
Well, I looked last night and you could still, but you really got to look close to see the little individual dots. And I was going to ask you all about that. Is I guess not only is the technology of putting it together in Photoshop or whatever, but it looks like the printing technology has a lot higher resolution on it now of what's going on the page.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, you got to compete with 4K televisions and Retina iPads and all that kind of stuff. So.
Well, I think I said this when Brent and I were on Dave Ellswick a few weeks back talking about the expo coming up. I don't think comics will ever go away, and here's why. Now the how they're delivered, is obviously changing. I hope there's still always a paper experience though, but that's just me. But it'll never come. Radio didn't make television go away. The internet hadn't made television go away, or television didn't make radio go away, etc. So usually new technologies that come along or new mediums don't completely eradicate the previous medium. But there's another reason why I think comic books will never go away. And that is because it's a completely unique medium. I'm assuming everybody here has read Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics. Okay, he talks about the concept of closure in comic books. And so your brain engages with a comic book like it engages with no other medium.
Right.
It doesn't engage with the same with a book, and it doesn't engage the same with a movie or a TV show. So I think that's why, I don't think they'll ever completely go away. The art, now how we get it might, but the actual, art of panels telling a story, I don't think that's ever going to go away.
The closest thing you could really compare it to is a well-designed web page.
Okay.
Really.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the closest kind of experience you get. Panel to panel, each is a new bit of information, and you're trying to convince someone in one web page what your product is.
Yeah. Okay. That's
sell them on
a
it.
Good. Yeah, because you're leading them. And
yes,
I can see that.
And in that sense, I'm encouraged that I think people, and this is one of the reasons I think comics is enjoying a resurgence in popularity. I think people have become hardwired to receive information that way and to parse it out, and it complements comics.
Interesting. I had not considered that. When Randy Duncan comes on from Power Comics, I want to talk to him about that some and get his thoughts on that. That's interesting. But that power of closure, that concept of closure, of what happens in between the panels in your brain, filling it in your mind, that's so powerful.
Yes.
So I don't think that it'll ever go away. And I'm glad to see comics make a lot of the stuff I love right now is making a resurgence. Games, comic books. There seems to be this sort of upswell. I don't know if they're connected. Sometimes what's the thing to say? Correlation is not necessarily causality. So I don't know. But anyway. So what are you two working on right now? It looks like Velvet is a property that you're involved in.
My projects right now, I'm
This is
working
Bettie.
on Outcast with Robert Kirkman. Who
Right,
is
I saw that, which is exciting.
Yeah, he's the creator of The Walking Dead, and this is his new horror book.
Okay.
And it's in production for film right now, or for television right now.
Is it? Okay.
It'll be on Cinemax in 2016. So the trailer's out right now and everything. You'll have to check it out.
How far into the series is it if people want to jump on?
I just finished up issue, what was that?
12.
Issue 12. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm also working with Ed Brubaker. I kind of left Marvel with Ed Brubaker, who is the modern day Captain America creator. He created
I read
Winter
his stuff
Soldier.
when he killed Captain America and all that.
Yep,
Yeah. His Bucky, I loved his Bucky, how he kind of redid Bucky. And now, did he come up with the Winter Soldier?
He
Yes.
did.
Okay,
Created
yeah,
the Winter
that whole
Soldier
run
storyline.
from Captain America getting shot to what happened after that was really good.
Yeah, he brought
So,
he brought the story back. And
plus, he's got a cool name, Brubaker.
Brubaker.
That's a great name, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a great Hollywood writer name.
Yeah, isn't
great
it?
writer's name. Isn't it?
By Brubaker.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right.
But yeah, I left Marvel with Ed, and I started on a book called Fatale, and that ended, and now we're working on a book called The Fade Out with the same artist, Sean Phillips, who's just a phenomenal British illustrator. And I'm also,
Well, if they're British, they have to be good, right? Yeah, anyway, I'm joking. Go ahead.
And I'm also working on Velvet and with Steve Epting and Ed. And this is the first time. Steve is the one who illustrated the whole Death of Captain America.
Okay.
line. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So this is the first time they've been back together on a project since their big fame on Captain
neat.
America.
Okay, so now is Velvet, from what I can tell, is it? It's not kind of like Alias, is it? I mean, I mean, what's the? I know it's, is her name Velvet?
Her name is Velvet.
Okay.
Velvet Templeton, and she is a ex-spy who, for reasons you'll have to read about in the book when you go pick it up, had to retire from her very successful spy career, and she became a secretary at the firm, or whatever you call it, the
spy organization.
spy organization she's working at.
She became Miss Moneypenny?
Yeah.
Basically,
Exactly.
it's
That's what
basically
it is.
it's the story. If in a nutshell, it's if Miss Moneypenny was more James Bond than James Bond.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then she gets set up.
Oh, okay.
So and then she's
well,
on
there
the,
always has to be the setup,
Yeah.
right?
So
I've
so
been
she-
done wrong.
So she gets set up, and then she has to go rogue, and it's about her traveling the world, trying to clear her name, and dealing with all these dangerous people, and trying to expose, not only clear her name, but to expose the conspiracy.
Yeah, whatever.
Basically.
Okay.
It's fun.
Well, cool. All right. So just for time purposes, we got about 5 minutes left. I'm going to steer it back over to Mitch, but I want to ask both of you, how long does it take on average? On average, I know every book is different, but most comic books are we still saying an average of 20, 22 pages?
Yeah.
Okay. On
To
average,
24 on
how long is it taking you to do a monthly issue?
It really, for the colors, it takes a lot longer for the illustrator. I mean, they do a book a month if they're lucky.
It's like 5 or 6 weeks.
Really?
Depending on the artist and the
Yeah, it really
speed,
depends on the
so-
artist. So everybody's a little bit different. So, I mean, some books end up on a 6-week schedule. Some of them come out every month. Like Fade Out and Outcast are every month.
Just no matter what.
No
Boom,
matter what,
it's going to happen.
It's important to the creators to get those books out every month, and they do it. And it's amazing. Fade Out is 24 pages every month, and that artist delivers 24 pages every month
To
without
26.
fail.
So do you ever?
It's
And
crazy.
I'm not trying to get you to tell tales on yourself, but do you ever I could probably do a couple less panels in this when I get it out. I mean,
Everything's in silhouette.
Yeah,
you could do the Liefeld with no backgrounds at all. I'm joking. I know you're not Liefeld.
Sometimes you have
Or is
to
it
take
Liefeld?
shortcuts.
How do you say it? Is it Liefeld or Liefeld?
Liefeld, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just joking around. I know that you guys
It happens.
work. The people who stay in comics as a career, you have to also love it. So I'm sure that every page is your best. Now I was reading last night. It just happened to. I don't know how I got into this, but I was reading an old interview with Klaus Janson. Okay, we got about 2 minutes till the music starts, but that doesn't mean that we end in 2 minutes. But he actually, when he penciled 2 rough layouts of the entire series or the entire issue, and then would combine both into the final one. So I was like, I don't think every artist is going to do that, because that sounds like it's going to take a lot of time. But Do you? I mean, do you have to really keep reframing everything?
Yes.
Or okay?
Yeah. I mean, I think Klaus is right. And Klaus is a mentor of mine. So,
really? Okay.
Yeah, I did a whole big class with him in New York and
That's
spent like
super
5 days with him, and he really took me under his wing. He's a great guy.
His work on, I mean, he's done a lot of great work, but his work on Daredevil was, I mean, amazing. Yeah, really amazing. So, and a lot of people don't know this. You alluded to it earlier, Betty, but being the artist, you're telling a story. I mean, you've got to have that stuff tell a story. So, like, 10 different artists could interpret what the writer is saying 10 different ways and lay out the page 10 different ways. So the artist isn't just like, well, I'm just going to do exactly. I mean, you're putting your own essence into what's happening on the page, right? So
yeah, absolutely. And then especially on the books that Elizabeth's coloring right now, which is like the Fade Out and Velvet, especially the writer and the artist have worked together so long that they almost telegraph each other. Mm-hmm. And so you can pick up one of those books, and if you pick up Fade Out or Velvet, you're going to be reading a book that's drawn, written, and colored by a team that's just cranking on all cylinders, and it's kind of a phenomenal experience.
Right.
And it's rare. It's rare because it takes some time to build your own style, to find a writer that you are compatible with, and a writer to find an artist that he trusts and can deliver every month. And when you get a team like that together, it's quite an experience.
All right. Well, I hate to do this. I always say every show that time is a predator that stalks us all our lives, and I stole that from Star Trek Generations. But we got about a minute left. I want to thank Stuart Berryhill. Thanks for being in. You are the inker on multiple projects, but probably best known for Man of God, and then also Winter War. And then we have Mitch. I didn't get to ask you, what are you working on right now?
I've been assisting Elizabeth on some of her books while my writing partner and I are writing some new material that we want to get out in 2016. And we got some big plans, and we're very excited about it. And you can follow me on Instagram too.
Okay, I'm
basically live blogging it.
Okay, I'll do that. And you guys, everybody in the room is welcome to come back on the show and give updates on what's going on. Brent, real quick, next Saturday, buddy. 10 to 6.
10 to 6. Come see us.
$5 to get in.
$5 admission.
Amazing stuff going on. Amazing.
It's the biggest show yet.
Talk about it like you're Stan Lee. True believers. You're not going to believe what's going to happen in this amazing miracle next Saturday.
Excelsior.
Thanks so much for being on, guys. And everybody, thanks for listening to Shane Plays Radio. We'll be back next week live from the River City Comic Expo.